finals of THL Season Kappa. This is Verade, or John, and joined with me is...
This is Steve, or Cassidy 14.
And we are hopping right into this first game one. It is featuring HertzDonut, or Dan, who is one of our normal casters, on my own Archon Storm against TheSacredJew, representing Xynergy. And so right off the bat, we see what looks to be a Control Warrior from Dan, or I'm sorry, well, yeah, Dan, whatever, and Tempo Mage from TheSacredJew. Who do you think's favored here, Steve?
I ordinarily would say the Warrior if he had weapons in his hand to deal with the early threats, but Dan does not, so he's going to struggle to catch up here, I think, to the Jew start.
Right. Dan has a defensive hand, but it's going to be slow. That Acolyte won't contest board control. The Bash is good, but isn't...
If he can pick up a Shield Slam, the Bash would be fantastic.
Right, sure. And to go over their lineups, let me pull that up really quick. Dan has Warlock, Warrior... Okay, sorry, can somebody... we are live. Okay, so Dan has Warrior, Warlock, and Paladin. Wow.
Yes.
And TheSacredJew has Hunter, Mage, Warlock. So, very, very typical lineups, kind of, coming out of Xynergy. They like their Hunter Mages. And,
yeah, they love their tempo mid-rangey, kind of swingy classes.
Yeah. And wow, right off the bat, we see off the Unstable Pour a Gadget Zowser, and it's not going to beat a Control Warrior. As Dan wins. And it does reveal that, oh wow, Kazan Mystic coming from Dan, and that's a huge pickup.
Given the Mad Scientist on board, yes sir.
Yeah, so Dan's rather slow hand with the Senjin pickup and the Kazan pickup is going to be able to transition into these Sludge Belchers.
Oh yeah.
And then Dan's going to be in pretty good shape to take over. And with this Bash, he's going to be able to play the Kazan on curve.
Effigy!
Wow.
So Dan is going to steal Effigy on curve. And, I mean, TheSacredJew has no way to efficiently deal with one good minion, let alone two, in the 4-drop slot.
Mage, playing nothing on turn 3. Oh,
he's run a double Mystic!
Holy crap. So Dan is just going to grab Tempo here.
Tempo Warrior confirmed.
Tempo Warrior confirmed, and TheSacredJew knows he's in trouble, losing that, and with this terrible hand. We're going to see the Archon Blast, or is that called Arcane? Arcane Blast, not Archon Blast. And the Effigy's going to proc, and he gets a Yeti, arguably, I would say, potentially the best 4-drop.
Yeah, as good as it gets. That's going to eat a Fireball.
Good, but with the Frostbolt in hand, I think the Yeti's actually better. So Dan off to a terrific start with this Warrior. And he's got a lot of options here. I would just expect just the Sludge Belcher on curve, but Dan seems to want to get the Acolyte out. He does have 2 in the hand, which is a little clunky, and he has board control. He's feeling good.
If there was a time to get it out, I think it's now. He doesn't have to worry about taunting up to contest anything yet, so...
Right. So TheSacredJew can try to kind of fight for board control, or he can... Wow. So he actually goes for draw, and that's going to... Wow.
And then he's going to deny Dan's draw, and then leave a 4/4 on the board.
Yeah.
Well, as a Control Warrior, you can't complain.
Tempo Mage just has a super hard time fighting back for board control. It really relies on, like, you know, the mana worms and stuff to gain early board. And so coming back from this is going to be really, really hard. Dan is going to be able to start piling on the minions. Flame Strike, I think, would be kind of sacred.
Yeah, Flame Strike would be great here.
Dan is playing quite a few minions and not hero powering, so Flame Strike... Wow, we see a second Arcane Blast. This is an odd Tempo Mage. So we're going to see the Zerdrake, and I'm sure a Tempo Blast, or I'm sorry, Arcane Blast. But just...
The question then becomes, what do you Arcane Blast? I mean, I guess you have to get the Yeti for value, but it's not value.
Yeah, he has to ping, and then, I guess they'll play the Mirror Entity.
Oh, that's going to be so good. And
then Dan will Kazan it, and that's just, I mean...
He'll Kazan Mirror Entity right before Boom would come down.
Yeah, this is pretty intense.
Oh, man. So Jew's got to feel decent because he's got a mirror entity against a control warrior with 7
I don't
mana.
know.
He's feeling pretty good.
I
And
think
then his hopes and dreams are going to get crushed right here.
Kazan Mystic just destroying double in the top 10 cards for Dan, neither of which were picked up in the mulligan. So now Sacred Jew's Dr. Boom is denied. And I mean, he just all his late game minions are denied. And giving this a Zerdrake is just not gonna feel good. He can a Zerdrake and Arcane Blast, but
well played.
Maybe
I think he's just gonna concede.
Is he just gonna concede?
There's no way he can come back from this.
Oh man, a Zerdrake.
Interesting.
I mean, a Zerdrake is
blast his other.
How do you not give him a Mad Scientist?
I don't know.
I think you just Mad Scientist here. I don't even know. Honestly, I have no idea what you do here for Sacred Jew. I think you hit well played and concede.
Yep.
I mean,
I don't think you want to reveal any more of your deck.
Interesting.
Because there's just no reason to.
Well, I mean, Tempo Mage, unless there's some serious text in this Tempo Mage, it's not the most, like, you know, secretive deck.
Yeah.
So he will be able to get the Arcane Blast, but he does show double Arcane Blast, so that is worth noting. This, wow. So the Execute...
Dan with the PM.
The Execute is not going to be a good option here for Dan. You're going to want to... And I think he might end up executing. With only... Well, he picked up the Shield Slam, so maybe he's got 2 removal now.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that he didn't just trade the Mystic.
Just play the Kazan in, yeah. Dan, I think, is struggling from not having any weapons, which would be so high tempo at this point. So we're going to see a Belcher come down. And so he's going to go with a really conservative play here. Is he even going to kill it off?
It wouldn't make sense not to with Alexstrasza in hand. Oh, he's going to execute it.
So this is extremely high tempo.
He's lucky he has the Shield Slam. So he knows that any threat that could possibly come down he can deal with. And then pretty much just win the game at that point.
I think, honestly, Dr. Boom's just too slow here. I think you have to do a proactive Fireball. He can, let's see here. He picked up the Apprentice, which is good, so that's 5 plus 3. So he could play the Apprentice, the
Flamewaker and the Fireball.
And the Fireball. That'll clear off the Belcher. He'll get 2 Flamewaker hits, which actually at this point are almost bad because of the Acolyte.
And the Armor Smith
is never the worst, but with his Shield Slam in hand, Dan will be able to easily remove it, apply more board. And with no Flame Strike in hand, Dan can continue to commit. And with these taunts and Armor Smiths, this deck is not...
This is over.
This is just a... Yeah, this is an absolute bloodbath. The double Armor Smith with taunts up is gross. I would expect him to Acolyte hit into bomb here. I'd attack first with the Kazan into face.
Yep.
And then Acolyte...
You don't want to lose it.
Right, and then Acolyte the Boombot just to draw, see what you get before you play anything else. The order here isn't... You're almost certainly going to Shield Slam. I guess if you picked up BGH, you'd probably do that instead. So I would still... Yeah, I'd still draw first. It looks like Dan will Shield Slam here. Does not attack with the Kazan first. Let's see if he gets punished. He does not. Oh, man. And the armor begins to pile up. He smartly then attacks with the Kazan. Kills off the last Boombot.
Draws another card. Oh, there's the Execute.
And he can play Sludge Belcher here with... Or he's going to...
Oh, he even wants more armor.
Armor. Another hero power. Going up to effectively 49 health. And Sacred Jew is facing lethal.
Mechanical Yeti. Interesting.
So what can Sacred Jew draw here with Arcane? I mean, I think he needs...
he can't play a Flame Strike if he picks it up. So unless he's running Blizzard, this is over.
Right, and the Fireball will actually 7/8. He'll be alive with 1 health if he Fireballs here. But we see the Grom in hand, and that's going to be a really dominating game 1 from Dan. Dan, of course, is well known on the team and throughout the league as being a very good control warrior player, and we see the tech and the play style.
Yeah, the deck building skills.
Yeah, and there's the Fiery Works. You could show the top deck and tilt. I would go.
Oh yeah, you
Judge
always,
it.
if you can make your opponent on tilt, you always try to.
Oh man, and that is a crushing game one. And there's no joy in my voice. I'm totally neutral. But my boy
Most definitely.
Yeah, oh for sure. He takes game one. So TheSacredJew, Tempo Mage, an interesting Tempo Mage we saw there. Double Arcane Blast is not.
Yeah, very slow. I almost assume he's playing Ronin in a list like that, just based on how slow it was built.
Kappa. Yeah, I also would expect Ronin, and definitely a Flame Strike as well. So that's game one. Dan has Warlock and Paladin left, and TheSacredJew has Hunter, Mage, Warlock. So we'll see what we come out here. Dan going with the Paladin, and TheSacredJew going back to the Tempo Mage. So I actually don't even know what type of Paladin this is. We do see secrets right off the bat.
It is.
Wow, double Consecration.
That's good. I would
like
expect the Mage to be favored, but Dan does run double Consecrate, so that's going to help his matchup. And the Mage still has to draw well in this game in order to come back. Dan picks up Dr. Six and a True Silver.
So he's got,
and I would assume it's his only copy of True Silver, so that's a heck of a mulligan.
Yeah, that worked out pretty well. Redemption actually, what do you think here?
I think I would lead with Redemption. Yeah. Huh? I would lead with Redemption, because anytime Redemption can hit a mini-bot or a Death Rattle, you consider that a win. So he could get 2 Haunted Creepers out of it. And then you can save your coin. Like, I always want to avoid playing the coin as long as I can, because if I can get Dr. Six out on 5, he's just even better. So I think I would have played the Redemption. Dan chose not to. No big deal.
Yeah. So he's going to save the coin.
He's got to feel a little disappointed. He's picked up 2 secrets with the Challenger in his hand.
Pretty terrible draws. They are gold though, so you know, little silver lining. The Haunted Creeper I think is okay here. There's not a really good response if he plays the Flame Waker here on curve. Wow, Flame Cannon seems a little premature. That's going to set up a nice muster for Dan. The Flame Waker can get punished super hard by the True Silver.
Dan's going to look really good for holding the coin.
Yeah, and the coin hold is going to come off big here. And so TheSacredJew is trying to set up a big Flame Waker, Flame Cannon turn, but it looks like Dan's going to be able to coin True Silver, and that's huge because again, I'm not a Secret Paladin expert by any means, but I do know that the Flame Waker is one of the biggest cards versus the Paladin.
The Flame Waker is one of the swing cards in this matchup.
Yeah. So we do see the Ronin, so that was a correct call on your part, and now we're going to see the Flame Cannon and King.
And he's not going to clear the other spider. Won't get cleared. That's interesting.
Oh, and
and there's the Shredder.
On curve is going to be really good. With the 1/1 down, this will be able to contest the Yeti in TheSacredJew's hand. And then we've got the turn 5 Knife Juggler into Muster into turn 6. This is looking very good for Dan. TheSacredJew did pick up a Frostbolt, which can, contest the Shredder, but the board control is what really matters here. And this is and a Quartermaster
in Dan's deck. That's interesting.
Wow. So Dan is, I think, I do like this before. I would probably hit the Shredder in first. But I guess.
Well, if it hits it, now he can use a weapon in the 1/1.
Yeah.
And now Jew is really regretting not killing the 1/1.
Wow. So Dan's gusto pays off, and Jew is again finding himself way behind on board. The Frostbolt is a nice pickup, and the Yeti is going to be able to curve out here. But I think it's too late. You've got the Quartermaster here, and I think I think you just played the Quartermaster over.
You always play the Challenger. He's too strong.
I like this more, and you can even put up Noble Sack and push for a ton of damage.
You're just so open to Flame Strike here, though.
Yeah. And I mean, this is again a situation. This is again a situation where, and he puts up the Noble Sack, and he's threatening next turn lethal. And this is a situation where TheSacredJew just drew his super high cost minions, and unless this portal is, I don't even know, a abomination. Yeah, so Dan looks like that's easy lethal.
That is lethal.
Wow, so Dan coming out blazing and not even giving TheSacredJew the chance to pop the Shredder. He's going to need to fireball it and hope for Doomsayer. Doomsayer would save him. It's, I believe, a 1 in 80 chance. There's nothing to be considered here if you're TheSacredJew. This is a desperation fireball. And it's not. So Dan is going to easily take game 2 very quickly with mid-range Secret Paladin. And TheSacredJew really knocked down to 0-2 position really quick. That being said, Dan's last deck is Warlock. And Dan is renowned for playing Handlock. So Hunter, Mage, Warlock, TheSacredJew could be looking for a reverse sweep on this Handlock.
Definitely,
because
he could be. His Tempo Mage should have enough burn damage to get through.
Right.
Hunter is favored, although not as badly as it used to be. It's still definitely favored. But I wouldn't bet against Dan in a Warlock mirror.
Yeah,
so
Dan.
We'll have to see how this goes.
Dan is very comfortable with Warlock. We of course see the Hunter, which I think would be probably the most favored class. But a Zombie Chow right off the bat. Wow. Dan brings the Tex. Yeah, this is actually not a bad hand.
And Jew's playing a much faster Hunter that will get absolutely rolled by a Sludge Belcher unless he can silence it. So
yeah, I think Jew is really gonna need owls or hunter's marks to really have a shot in this. The Zombie Chow is enormous. Dan does send back everything, and
except the Chow.
Sorry. Yeah.
Would you keep the Molten Giant against a Hunter?
No.
I always ask Handlock players this, and I always get a mixed response.
I wouldn't. No, it's it basically is betting on you doing poorly.
Okay.
So I like to look for other things like Sun Furies, or I like to get cards that'll potentially stop the Wow, that could easily get punished by a
Mortal Coil.
Okay, so I haven't seen any of Dan's decks, but
he came ready for the secrets for sure.
He came with a lot of secret hate. So Dan is gonna trade and seeing and
he's gonna tap.
Very ballsy. I probably would have played the Sun Fury.
I think I would have as well.
And Sacred's gonna have a chance to really put out some damage. Is he? And this is, I mean, some Hunter players like to hero power every single turn, really get value from it. I personally think the Juggler there would have been pretty backbreaking. And a second Kazan.
Juggler would have hurt, but you always you worry about it just being dark bombed, and then you got no damage in. Because you're on a clock against big minions being taunted up.
Right. We see
and you see he's playing Brave Archer.
Brave Archer.
So then maybe he should have tried to empty his hand as fast as possible.
And he's really, really going for face. The Sun Fury will be able to give Dan a reprieve, but he picks
Molten Giant.
So right here, you just Sun Fury.
Yep.
With the Molten Giant, hit it, pocket, and then he's gonna have a double taunt. And now TheSacredJew is basically on silences. He does get the Mad Scientist, which is pretty much a trap. No pun intended. The Juggler Unleash is okay, but Dan actually playing Secrets at this point for TheSacredJew is bad for him. Double Kazan in hand, Dan will be absolutely good to go. And I don't know how you close out this turn. I just play Secret Archer, or whatever. What is that called?
Brave Archer. I don't know, because I think he would have wanted to dump his hand to try to get a couple extra value shots from Brave Archer to end up winning. But the heal bot's just going to put him totally out of range.
And I love this play.
Is that lethal? No, not quite.
I absolutely love this play because this sets up him to take the Kazan, but he also plays safe enough to kind of play around any sort of burn crazy quick shot, command stuff crap here. So this Unleash will be able to buy TheSacredJew a little bit of time, I think. TheSacredJew does show that oh man, he sets up for the explosive trap, which will do absolutely nothing.
Oh, the Kazan! Oh!
And sorry, is going to take this in 3 super quick games. And wow.
And Josh made the guarantee, and Dan backed it up.
That game, I think, was all of, what was that, 18 minutes for 3 games?
Something like that.
All right, so let's see if we can get Dan in here for the winners interview. That was
double
wham
Kazan.
bam, thank you, man. Like, that's a quick 3-0.
So that gets Archon Storm right back into the finals. That is now, it's 1-1 in terms of matches, and it is now I think it's 6-2 in terms of points. So the points are still relatively close. Jedi did point out that a team could win 3-2, but the overall points could result in a tie. I don't know where we would go if that happened, but just interesting to know nonetheless.
Yeah, that's crazy. So we are going to get Dan in the winner's booth here, real quick. Man, that was insane. A lot of Kazans. As the Fel Reaver became Team Rank 5's mascot for Season Kappa, I think Kazan might be Archon Storms. So I'm trying to get Dan in here. What did you think of those matches, Steve? Any insight? Anything you want to add?
No, everything went pretty according to plan. The slow tempo mage was an interesting bring, and it was an interesting deck to lead with, because I don't know what he was targeting, or what Jew was targeting with that. It just felt very out of place against what Dan had, and it looked like Dan definitely had it pegged as tempo mage, bringing double Kazan in a taunt-based warrior against it.
Yeah, and if it was Freeze Mage, Freeze Mage could have been a problem for mid-range Pally, but
yeah, definitely.
Fortunately for Dan, it was actually a tempo mage. And
we can also get the TheSacredJew in here now.
Oh, okay. So, did he add you? Do you have him, Rich?
Yeah, I do. I'll go ahead and add him in.
Okay. I think we're calling Dan. So that was a quick game 1. I'm gonna just let Twiz know. I will be playing Twiz next, so I'll be hopping off after the interviews.
There's Dan.
You there, Dan?
You guys there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, what's up?
Hey.
Wow. So Mr.
Dude,
Kazan
those
himself.
Kazans, right? Kazan effigy is that's insane value.
Yeah, against
that's got to be Trump's favorite play.
Yeah, tell us about why you decided. I would assume, did your Paladin deck have any Kazan Mystics in it, or no?
It did not, just because I don't know. That deck's got so many secrets. It's like there's not a whole lot of room to, I feel like, to wiggle.
So tell us about why you decided to commit not 1 but 2 Mystics in each of your other 2 decks. Then,
because he's got 2 out of 3 or 2 out of 3 of his classes were secret classes.
Okay.
So, worst case, I lose 1 to Warlock. I figured, but I figured also, since Warlock's really versatile, he would not use it first. So I felt safe with the Warrior, and then that's why I went Paladin second, just in case. I don't know, just to sort of see what happened, and then and then finished with the Warlock. The Warlock, I did have a few ready though. I had another handlock that didn't have any Mystics. Can
you tell us what you cut for the Mystics and handlock and Warrior?
I can. Don't judge though, because maybe there were bad ideas.
I also, since Archon Storm hasn't fully played, I'm not sure if we want to give everything.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I will say, you can believe me or not, that I cut 2 Mountain Giants.
That's amazing. I didn't
To
know
make
that.
room
Wow,
for the
that is a
Mystics.
heck of a tech in a
That's awesome.
hand
And
lock
it may or
list.
may not be true. So if you're going against someone from Archon Storm handlocked,
Don't look for Mountain Giant. You can totally
don't
play
worry
around.
about it.
Giants.
If that
Turn
hand is
4 Mountain
huge,
Giant.
don't worry about it. It's fine. Just keep playing.
Wow.
Don't do
I
damage
gotta-
though, because there are 4 Molten Giants.
Man, I gotta say, I didn't really know many of your decks specifically, and it was a blast watching that as an unbiased viewer. All of the Kazans
Most
just
certainly.
come in.
That was I mean, I can't believe the first match with the Warrior when both showed up was like, oh, all right. Well,
Well then,
this feels unfair.
do we want to get Sacred Jew in here, Rich, or should we just hop into game 2?
Has game 2 started?
I'm game 2. I am
Oh.
game.
You are, and you're playing against who? Twiz?
Yes.
Okay, I have both of you added.
I think Rich is working on trying to get Sacred Jew in here. He may right now Sacred Jew is just seeing like a bunch of Kazans floating in front of his eyes. But yeah, if we can't get that, Twiz is ready to go. I'm of course ready to go. So maybe we should just jump into game 2 since we have our other caster back. How's that sound, guys?
That's fine with me. Whatever you guys want to do.
All
I
right.
do
Well,
that.
I'll hop off the
Hey,
call.
I've actually Sacred Jew is with us. Are you there, Austin?
I am here.
All right.
Austin.
Yep.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
I mean, I'm doing fine. Those mystics really hurt my face a lot.
Yeah.
I'm
I have
pretty
a
sure this is what happened not last week, but last time I played him too, because I've only I don't play Hearthstone a lot. Like, I play it a nice amount, but this is like the first ever community I've been a part of with Hearthstone. And I've really just stuck to Mage and Warlock before then, so I kind of had to pick up a third deck, and I just was messing around with Warrior and Hunter. So I figured Face Hunter's easy enough, so I'll just stick with that for this season, I
Sure.
guess.
Sure, makes sense.
And those mages are just really, the Kazan Mystics are just really, really nice tool to bring against my deck list.
Honestly, that last turn with the Hunter was not as sewn up as I thought it was if there was no Mystic.
Yeah, like I could have, I
You
would
could
have
have
lost.
wiped the whole board.
Yeah, that's what I was. My plan was that hopefully he didn't have Mystic, but I was 95% sure that I had lost that game, that he had Mystic, because he ran 2 in his Warrior deck.
Right.
So I was pretty sure that he was bringing it.
The guy who just talked is Dan, your last opponent.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Hey.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Sorry.
So I was pretty sure that you had Kazans. Maybe not in your Paladin deck, but in the other ones, I'm pretty sure you had them because they're more of anti-aggro, you know.
It's you nailed it. You're exactly right.
So I mean,
yeah.
My idea going into it was I was either going to bring. I play a lot of Frost Mage. That's probably my most comfortable deck. But seeing that you were bringing 2 later game decks, I was going to try to bring Tempo or Mech Mage to start off with, because last week I started with Hunter, and I'd assume that you'd think I would start off Hunter again.
Those mind
All
games.
super valid choice. Yeah.
I wanted
this
to
is
bring
much more high quality thought than
I wanted to bring.
I feel like
I
it's
wanted to
fairly
bring
reflected in the result.
a more face hunter, or a more face of a mage, not like so I could kill you, because I know that after turn 6 or 7, with my hunter or my mage deck, I'm not going to beat those decks. It's just not going to happen. Especially with Justicar and stuff like that on the warrior.
Austin,
Yep, go ahead.
Unfortunately, we didn't get to see your Warlock. Last week we did. You had some excellent handlock plays. I have a question. How we saw what is it? Fizzlebang in your handlock? Are you still playing that? Are you enjoying that? Do you have any?
I think Fizzlebang's he's a really cool card.
Yeah.
And if for some reason I can hold on to him in my hand till turn 8, and I don't, like, if I've been ahead, I guess it's good to have him, but behind it's really kind of he's a hit or miss, because if I throw him out and get a Twilight Drake or throw him out in something, then it's like it's obviously a free card, but it could be way better.
Right.
But it's just for those times where I get like Draxus or I'll have a late Molten Giant or something. It's just free whenever I want to play it.
Right. And may I ask, in your games, have you ever gotten Draxus or a Mountain Giant off of him?
I've gotten Mountain Giants off him a couple times, but I've
Wow.
never got Draxus off of it.
Wow.
Well,
He's just nice.
Yeah.
He's really nice when you're ahead, but you don't like if you're ahead as handlock. It's kind of just you're gonna roll over the enemy. So
right. Sure.
you don't
Well,
really. He's not needed. I just like him.
Right.
Yeah. Well, he's a cool card, and I was kind of hoping to see some of that, but unfortunately, Dan hates fun and finished the match.
I figured he had handlock, so I didn't want to bring handlock into handlock.
Right.
'Cause
Well, you did topple. I forget who you played last week, but you did topple them in the mirror, in the handlock mirror.
Yep.
Yeah. So you are. Yeah. I mean, you definitely have shown your abilities with handlock in the mirror. So yeah, that's something to be proud of. Yeah. Do we have any other questions for the winners before we move on to the next match, Steve or Dan?
I do not know.
Okay.
I do not. It was good games. I really do feel like everything you just said. You deserve to have won more games than that because everything you just said was super reasonable, and you had solid
everybody
plans.
in this league and like on my team too. I feel a little bit below because they all try so hard and they play practice and stuff like this, and I work and go to school. And I don't really like for the last 3 weeks. The only Hearthstone I've been playing is these matches. So it's kind of
Gotcha.
so it's a little lame, but it's just nice to be part of like a community, I guess. And this is being in the finals is still pretty cool. It's a nice opportunity. None of us have ever played my team has never played together. I think I don't know if it's everybody's first time, but I know it's mine and our captain's first time. So.
Yeah, it actually. We were talking about that a little earlier. Your entire team. This is their first season in the league, and you guys have. You were in an extremely hard conference, which you guys totally dominated,
Destroyed.
and now you're in the finals after dominating Steve's team last week.
You guys ruined us.
So yeah, very impressive from Zynergy. Do you have any shout outs or anything before we let you go?
I mean, we haven't really. To Zach Vendiclick, me and him are like out of our whole team. It's just I haven't practiced with any of us, and we're not very. We talk. We have a Facebook group that we talk into and we discuss strategy, but we don't really. We've never really gotten together and practice as a team, so I feel like that would have made us a lot better. But me and Zach have played a couple games together, and we've played a lot. So we're not really. We were very out of. I would say we were very unprepared for this, but we were also. We are thankful to have gotten this far. So
well,
Team Rank 5 is just crying right now.
Yeah, you beat
no one prepares like Team Rank 5.
You beat a lot of really try-hard teams, so right now they're all just cringing as you're like, yeah, we kind of.
As you're like, yeah, no, I cannot emphasize enough how little we prepare.
How little we prepare every week.
Like we didn't. I like Hearthstone. I love this game. It's fun and everything, but I can't sit on ladder and climb for hours. I just can't do that to myself. It's not a.
Yeah, last week last month, some guy, I don't forget who, like hit rank 4 legend on day 3. Like, who's got time for that?
Yeah, I can't do that.
Lineman did.
Yeah, those guys are losers.
Unbelievable.
We don't.
Just talking about Cassidy.
Oh yeah, I was talking about Cassidy.
That was after D lineman.
But yeah, we're glad you're able to participate in the league, and it's maybe a different change up from ladder, and that's kind of the idea. So it's great having you, and best of luck to your team. We're gonna hop on to the next game. So